Hey, good morning, guys. It's Anthony here. It is Friday, June 27th, 2025, at just about 9 a.m. This morning, I want to do something a little bit different. I'm going to read from the New Testament, and we're going to read John chapter 15, the entire chapter 15. But while I'm reading, I want you to pay attention to two words. The word stay, which is in my Bible, or in your Bible it might say abide, like abide in me. In my Bible it says stay. That's mentioned in chapter 15, I think just about 10 or more times. And then the word if is mentioned over 10 times in chapter 15. The word abide or stay is Strong's G 3306. It's pronounced meno, M-E-N-O, meno is the Greek. It means to remain or abide, to tarry, not to depart, to continue to be, not to perish, to last or endure. Keep that in mind as I read. To survive, to remain in me, same thing. To remain as one or to wait for. That's what the word stay or abide is. If is G 1437, ehan, and it's a conditional particle. It denotes indefiniteness or uncertainty. So the word if is used 10 or more times in this chapter. So let's read and then chapter 15 is Messiah talking to his taught ones or his disciples in the upper room. I believe it's John chapter 13 through 17 takes place in the upper room on Pesach or unleavened bread. And so Messiah here is talking to them and he says this starting in verse 1. I am the true vine and my Father is the gardener. Every branch in me that bears no fruit, he takes away, and every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, so that it bears more fruit. And you could cross-reference Ephesians 2, chapter 2, verses 8 through 10, with these two first verses. He says next in verse 3, you are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Verse 4, stay in me and I stay in you, as the branch is unable to bear fruit of itself unless it stays in the vine, so neither you unless you stay in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Verse 5, he who stays in me and I in him, he bears much fruit, because without me you are able to do naught. Or unable to do anything, you can do nothing. If anyone does not stay in me, he is thrown away as a branch and dries up, and they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. Okay? If you don't stay in Messiah, you're gathered as a branch and thrown in the fire. Think about the ramifications of this. If you stay in me, and my words stay in you, you shall ask whatever you wish, and it shall be done for you. In this my Father is esteemed, this is verse 8, that you bear much fruit, and you shall be my taught ones, or my disciples. As the Father has loved me, I also have loved you. Stay in my love. If, verse 10, if you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love, even as I have guarded my Father's commands and stay in his love. Messiah is talking and referencing the Torah here. If you guard my commands, Messiah, remember, came and did what his Father sent him to do. Deuteronomy 18 through 19. Peter confirms it in Acts chapter 3, 22 and 23, verse 22 and 23. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love, even if I have guarded my Father's commands and stay in his love. The Torah, which is in the Tanakh, which Messiah continued and lived out. He didn't do away with it. He didn't abolish it. He didn't create some kind of new law or new commandments. Verse 11, these words I have spoken to you so that my joy might be in you and that your joy might be complete. Our joy is not complete unless Messiah's joy is in us. Verse 12, this is my command, that you love one another as I have loved you. So loving one another, his taught ones, his disciples. So as believers, we are to love one another. As hard as that is to do with fellow believers sometimes, it's a commandment here in John chapter 15. No one has greater love than this is verse 13, that one should lay down his life for his friends. Verse 14, you are my friends if you do whatever I command you. Again, he's referencing Torah. No longer shall I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends, for all teachings which I heard from my Father I have made known to you. Verse 15. Everything the Father sent him, Messiah, the anointed one, the anointed human, to do, he accomplished. And he's telling his disciples this. I have made this known to you in my ministry in my last 3 years. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he might give you. Verse 16. These words I command you so that you love one another. Again, love one another. Doing his word, bearing fruit. Verse 18. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. The world, in general, hates Messiah. It doesn't embrace him. It hates him. Therefore, he says, the world will hate you, believers, taught ones, disciples. If you were of the world, verse 19, the world would love its own. So those believers that are in the world right now, us, taught ones, if we were of the world would love us. In other words, if we did what the world does, the world would accept us. Since we do not do what the world does, we stand out. We do what Messiah taught us. We love one another. We love others. We love Yah, our Elohim, with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. We follow Torah. We follow the commandments. We honor the Word. The Word was made flesh. The Word, Messiah, spoke to us, was given to him by the Father. Verse 20, remember the word that I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they shall persecute you too. If they've guarded my word, they will guard yours also. These are conditional statements. If. But all this they shall do to you because of my name, because they do not know him who sent me. Those people around the world that claim they know God or they talk about God, Elohim, Yahuwah, they'll talk about General G, God, all day long. However, when you connect Yahuwah and Yahusha, Yahusha the Messiah, Yah is salvation, that's what his name means. When you talk about that, he's saying, because of my name, because they do not know him who sent me. They don't know the one true Elohim if they don't recognize the Son, the Messiah. And he goes on in verse 22. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin. But now they have no excuse for their sin. He's talking about the ones who rejected him. and thought they had Yah. They did not. He who hates me hates my Father as well. Those people around the world, even those ones in Israel that hate Messiah and scorn him and trash his name and trash what he did and try to explain away Isaiah 53, those people, it says here, he who hates me hates my Father. They don't have the Father. You could pray against a wall or to a wall all day long. If you don't recognize Messiah, you don't have the Father. You could do it all day long. Understand what he's saying here in John 15. If, stay, stay, stay. If you don't stay, you're not a believer. If you don't abide in him, and like it said, to last, to endure, to overcome, you fall away. That's what's coming in the latter days, in these end days. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, a great falling away. This is believers, or people who think they're believers, falling away from the faith and embracing the world again. Verse 24, if I did not do among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin. But now they have both seen and have hated both me and my Father. They saw all that Messiah did. They tried to say it was the works of Hashatan, Satan. They saw it. They witnessed it. They're extra biblical. They're writers like Josephus and other writers that are not in Bible, but we have what they said. They attest to what Messiah did. They understand these things weren't done in a box. They were done in public and people witnessed them, both believers and unbelievers. Verse 25, but that the word might be filled which was written in their Torah. They had the Torah, but they decided to add doctrines of men to it. They decided to merge it with false beliefs, the same that's done today in the Christian church. It's no different today. It's no different. It says it right here. But that the word might be filled which was written in their Torah. They hated me without cause. Psalm 35:19, Psalm 69:4. There was no cause for them to hate him other than their greed, their self-centeredness, their stiff-neckedness, their following doctrines of men, their own teachings mixed with some Torah. This is what Messiah is saying. The church does the same thing today. They won't recognize the Torah, many, or the commandments, or they'll say they're done away with, or we don't have to follow them. He's saying the opposite in John 15. You need to read it closer, because you may not be a believer, or you may fall away. And you know what he says, what happens when you fall away. They're thrown in the fire and burned. That's the lake of fire he's talking about. It's not, if I prune a branch, it grows back stronger and flourishes. If I cut a branch off and throw it in a fire pit in my yard, it turns to ash. It perishes. It's done away with. It doesn't exist anymore. Understand the differences here between pruning and burning. Verse 26, and when the Helper comes, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, whom he said he was going to, in the renewed covenant, put in us. Jeremiah 31:31, Ezekiel 36. Put in you, give you the heart of flesh, take out the heart of stone, put it in your mind, give you the will and the want to obey, the power to do it. This is what he's talking about. When the Helper comes, because in verse 16, he's going to talk more about that. When the Helper comes, whom I shall send to you from the Father, the Spirit of truth, the Torah, the Spirit of truth, the Word, will be put in us in the renewed covenant. Not something different. It's now in you, a believer. And it gives you the power, the will, the want to obey, to be obedient to the word, and the power to do it. It's a better covenant because it's in us. And Messiah is the mediator of that new covenant. He's the high priest. He is who stands when we fall short or we unintentionally break the Torah. He is our advocate to the Father. We could go to him for forgiveness. We have his grace, his mercy. He saves us for a purpose. Yes, you're saved at what he did at the stake, but that wasn't his final work. His greatest work is yet to come, the second coming. And you and I have to endure to the end. We have to stay. We have to abide. Because there's conditional statements. If. If you do not obey, like Deuteronomy chapter 28 talks about blessings for obedience, curses for disobedience. Same thing. We must obey and walk as he walked. He lived it out, sinless. He's our example. If he can do it, he even tells us, you're going to do greater things than me. And when the Helper comes, whom I shall send to you from the Father, the Spirit of truth, who comes from the Father, he shall bear witness of me. Verse 27, the last verse. But you also bear witness, because you have been with me from the beginning. That's what he said to his taught ones. This is what he says to us. Remember, Judas was with them the whole time. Judas was one of the taught ones. What did he do? He didn't abide. He fell away. He didn't listen to all the ifs. He decided to let Satan into his heart. Abide in Messiah. Obey what he said. He didn't do something different in the renewed covenant. He did something better. Because now it's in the believer. The Spirit is in us. It guides us. He leads us. He enables us to see falsehood. He enables us to see the sickness and the depravity in the world and want to go out. The Great Commission, we go out into the world and we make disciples, and people stop right there. But it goes on further. If you read Matthew, read what it says. And command them to follow me. Do what I command. Teach the commandments. Teach the Torah. Teach the true word. Not the watered down. Don't mix it with doctrines of men. Like they did here. Like he's talking about. The world's going to hate. If the world hates you, that's a badge of honor for us. If the world hates me, I know I'm doing something right as a believer, as a taught one. If I'm preaching, or if you're teaching, or if you're doing ministry, whatever you're doing, and the world is coming against you, you're probably doing something right. Because if Messiah came back today and walked our streets, they would probably send him to the stake again, because they would not like the word he's saying, just like he did here in the first century. They would send him to the stake all over again, I believe, because people today want to hear what their itchy ears want to hear. They don't want to do the hard things. They don't want to do what Messiah did. They want all the blessings. I want all the blessings, but I don't want to do my part of the covenant. I want you, Yah, to hear my prayer, to give me blessings. Yeah, we all want that. But I don't want to do the other stuff. I don't want to do my end of it. I don't have to do a covenant. This is the New Testament. There's no covenant. No, it's the renewed covenant. You have to keep up your end of the bargain. It's a two-party agreement It's not one-sided. You don't just believe about Messiah, Yahusha, Jesus, and go about living a life that's unchanged. You're radically changed because his spirit, his set-apart spirit, is in you. He's setting you apart for works, for service, for doing all that the Torah talks about. And understanding what sin is. You don't know sin unless you know what the Torah says. The Torah defines what sin is. Read 1 John 3. Sin is breaking the law. It's lawlessness, Torahlessness, John says. John's not teaching something new. In fact, John talks about at the end of his book here, or near the end, in chapter 20, verse 30, there were indeed many other signs that Yahusha did in the presence of his taught ones. So he did many other things which are not written in this book, verse 30. Verse 31, but these have been written so that you believe that Yahusha is the Messiah, the Son of Elohim, and that believing you might possess life in his name. That's what we believe. That's what John was saying. It's easy. All the things that I wrote in my book, in these books and the others, he's saying, so that you might believe that Yahusha is the Messiah, the anointed one, the Son of Elohim, not Elohim the Son of Elohim, and that by believing you might possess life in his name. He's right in line with Deuteronomy 18 through 19. Same thing. Yah said, I'm going to send a prophet like Moshe, which was Messiah. He's going to come. I'm going to put my words in his mouth. He's going to speak and do all I say. And those who do not listen to what he says, I will require it of them. I will judge them. Peter confirms it in his sermon in Acts chapter 3. Go back and read it. Peter says the same thing. All the disciples and taught ones said the same thing. The man, Yahusha Messiah, Paul said. Everything matches. Old and new come together. Everything matches. It's now a better covenant because it's in us. It's in us. It gives us the power and the will and the want to obey. Watch Triumph in Truth Ministries. G. Stephen Simons preaches it over and over again. The want to and the power to obey. That's what the Spirit does. Go back and read John chapter 15 today. Thanks for joining me. Anthony signing off. Yah bless everyone. Have a blessed Sabbath.